On this episode of AVWeek, Crestron inks a distribution deal. What does interactive mean after COVID-19? And the milestones we need to hit and watch as we begin recovery. All that and more. Next on AVWeek.
The network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.
This is AV Week, episode 513, recorded Friday, June 18th, 2021. Simplified AV.
Support for AVNation is brought to you by Atlas IED, innovative audio solutions for every business environment, and by FSR.
This is AV Week, your weekly wrap-up of audio-visual news and information. My name is Tim Albright. I am your host. With us to discuss the news and information we have gathered this week, a young man who's been very busy at a brand spanking new job, and so I haven't seen him for a minute. Mr. Frank Paticala, welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thank you again for letting me be on AV Week. It's always a pleasure.
I appreciate it. And just congratulations. I don't think I've actually had you on since you just started the new gig, but Frank has joined the group over at Panasonic. So congratulations, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Absolutely. Also with us, a new gentleman that I got to meet this week for the first time, Stefan Eriksson. Stefan is from Conftel. Welcome, sir.
Perfect. Usually people call us Confitel, so you spell it just perfect. So
there's no E there. No. Why would they do that? There's no E there.
Yeah, we're strange people in Sweden, especially in northern Sweden where we're based.
We were talking about the Euro Cup earlier before him. Go ahead.
Yeah, we had a successful game this afternoon, so that's why I'm smiling the way I do.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I appreciate you staying up late for us. We're recording this Friday afternoon, but it's evening time with Stefan. I will make he and I share the love of orange. I'm a fan of Netherlands in the Euro Cup this year. Or I've been a fan of Netherlands for soccer. You know, so I said soccer. You can send me emails later. But for years. Really quickly, I want to say thank you to a whole lot of people, and I'm not going to name names, but we had a really great event on Thursday, the 17th this week. It was called AV3. My buddy Megan Dutta over at SCN, System Contractors News, and the team at Future did a great job of putting on the event. AVIXA came along and helped us out with a lot of stuff. Great sponsors, great content. It may have been the biggest webinar session that I have ever done live. Some pretty astounding numbers. Very, very happy and very impressed with all of you guys that came out with us and hung out for the day. I do appreciate that. If you're familiar, if you don't want to know, if you want to know what I'm talking about, go to av3event.com. You can still register. You can still watch the stuff on demand. And check that out. So yeah, thank you to Megan, to the team at Future and the team at AVIXA for that. We appreciate it. First story comes to us from our friends over at Commercial Integrator. And speaking of AVIXA, AVIXA has unveiled a pretty interesting index. It's an index talking about an important milestone on both sales and employment. And one of the last articles that our buddy Craig McCormick wrote for Commercial Integrator. But it shows growth for the 12th consecutive month, is both in sales as well as in employment, meaning that the sales are going up incrementally and the employment numbers for integrators are going up incrementally. Frank, I want to start with you on this. Besides those two indicators, and those are self-reported, right? AVIXA goes out and they contract with a survey company and they ask integrators what's going on. Are they hiring more? Are they seeing more sales? They are self-reporting that yes, we are seeing more sales. We are hiring people back or hiring people again. Besides those two markers, besides those two milestones, what else should we look at as a signal for growth or for contraction?
I think I can come at this with a unique perspective, being that I was at an integrator till 2.5 months ago, and now I'm part of a manufacturing team. The general trend in the market is there's so much of excitement. I think the one word that I'd like to use to describe it is everybody's excited about the possibilities. AV as an industry has always been adaptable and resilient, and during the most challenging times, I think what it did is made a lot of people creative. And a lot of people survived and tided over these things. So a lot of lessons learned, and I think they're taking that into their sales processes and they're taking it into their, their pipeline. And I feel that in general, the market is looking forward to things picking back up, and we see a lot of trends towards it. There's a lot of excitement, like clients and users in general are always asking and understand. They just want to know what's out there. So I think the AVIXA research is fairly accurate in terms of the excitement that we're seeing every day.
All right. Stefan, from your perspective, not only, a manufacturer, but also, you've got kind of a, at least a Eurocentric view, if not a global view. What are you seeing as other milestones or markers that we need to keep in mind?
Yeah, I mean, this index is sure interesting, and I will make sure I follow it going forward. Wasn't really familiar with it until today. So, I mean, for us as a device company, this period, the pandemic has been tremendous. We've seen growth through it and continue on a very exciting path. So I guess that I mean, hearing now about also the integration companies starting to see growth, it's really encouraging for me as well to hear, because that means that there will be a need for even more maybe devices to equip all these, from our perspective, meeting rooms of all different sizes going forward, and also maybe other use cases and scenarios. So probably when talking about different geographies as a market, we experience that maybe at the moment, US is a bit ahead in the recovery from the pandemic, but EMEA and the other regions as well are starting to also to show some real pace now.
Stefan, real quickly, do you think that the reason that the U.S. is slightly ahead is because of the deployment of the vaccine, the fact that there are a number of states that have hit that somewhat magical 70%, inoculation,
yeah,
or
it
at least
seems
70%
to be
of the
the
population
main
has gotten.
reason, I think, and also, yeah, we had also in discussions with some of our major partners, distribution partners, see that maybe the expectations in the industry and the society as a whole was that the recovery would happen faster. But then with some delays in the vaccination programs, it took a little bit longer time, and that's the main reasons, I think. So now we have really high hopes for the fall. So when we come back from summer holidays, that also Europe will be full speed ahead. So.
All right, very good. Next article comes to us from our friends over at AV Magazine. Maverick has announced a distribution deal with Crestron. Couple of things about this story before we get started. First of all, Crestron is a sponsor of AVNation. Crestron typically, at least in the States, does not go through distribution. There are a couple of specific products that they do have through certain limited distribution, but by and large, they are direct to manufacturer to direct to dealer in the States. Different parts of the world, though, you primarily work through distribution. But again, Crestron has worked to a lot of times to get direct to dealer. This deal with Maverick gives Maverick the distribution of of Crestron's platform-based UC devices in 18 countries in Europe and the U.S. and Canada. Very interesting deal. Very interesting development. It covers the Crestron Flex series, the Crestron Flex Enterprise UC products. Also has a lot of the Microsoft Teams certified devices. Stefan, when it comes to distribution, and especially almost like a global, at least U.S. It's not even global. No, it's three continents. It's two continents really. It's North America and it's Europe, right? That gives Maverick, but also gives IT managers an interesting kind of help here. What does this kind of Europe and North American centric distribution get for the IT tech managers who are looking to standardize on Microsoft Teams or Zoom rooms that have some of these UC based platforms?
Okay, so I try to step in and play the role as the end customer here and think from their perspective, of course, hopefully it simplifies things. So for the rollout of big projects and for how the logistics and support flow and systems can be set up. And from Crestron's perspective, I think this deal makes a lot of sense, and I fully understand and respect their strategy to go this way. It makes a lot of sense. For us at Conftel, we're all about two-tier distribution. All of our sales go through distributors and the reseller networks. But we, until now at least, have focused much more on national, regional distribution partners that really will give us the attention we need and the support we need for the different markets and regions. So for us, until now, we haven't really gone into these pan-European or global distribution setups, but I see the reason why Crestron and Maverick is doing this together, really.
Mm. Frank, this is not new for Maverick. Maverick has an entire line what they call their smart meetings, stuff like Logitech. Microsoft is in there, Lenovo, Epson, a number of other folks, LG. They've made really, really huge inroads over the last few years under John Sidgwick, who left last year. But that was kind of his big push is getting into the UC space. What does a distribution deal like this that covers an awful lot of countries? How does that help the IT folks and the AV tech managers who are living and working in this in the trenches every day, making sure that these systems work?
I think this is a one word that comes to my mind to describe this is inevitable. What you're seeing right now is basically the UC platforms have such a strong footprint in the corporate market. And for so long, AV has not relied on an IT type of structured purchasing program, right? They would go to their integrators and they would have a different process into purchasing these things. But with deals like this, what it means is now products are becoming part of an ecosystem. So when a device is certified as a team certified device, an IT manager or a corporate IT user basically relies on the certification that Microsoft does on that particular product and then basically picks out based on feature sets. And that's very similar to the purchasing process involved with a lot of IT solutions out there. So simply inevitable that this was going to happen at some point of time. And people, I've probably been saying this for a long time, that AV folks, the way you differentiate yourself is probably not by saying that we carry different UC products anymore, because basically UC has that kind of reach. I think we need to find our own specific niches. So it doesn't hurt, in my opinion. I don't think this is a challenging change in the distribution and the product supply chain. But on the other hand, it also means that we do play by a lot of the IT purchase plans and IT timelines, because IT has a budget. They do it annually. They have their things. So we are now basically seeing a whole bunch of AV solutions, particularly now that Crestron is there. And like you mentioned, Tech Data and Maverick have obviously been doing this for a while now. But now that they have Crestron in their fold too, it just means that that's another special product that they carry. So inevitable, good thing to happen to IT managers. I think they'll really like that.
Well, and here's the interesting thing that you added that other adjective, the good part, right? Typically, when people say, "Oh, it's inevitable," right? Like it's inevitable that we all end up working for Google, right, or Apple, or whichever big, massive tech company you want to think of right now. Currently, Apple's the one with the biggest market cap. But why is it inevitable good? About that this UC and this distribution is it because the whole AV is following the IT path?
Yeah, absolutely. UC and its applications are completely reliant. Although there's so much of AV in it, it's time that we understand that we are not we can't be cavalier like we used to be. our solutions are very much integrated into an ecosystem that is determined by a lot of these large UC platforms like the Zooms and the Googles and the Microsofts of the world. So being a part of that ecosystem, playing along with the rules is just, I like to think of it as a positive thing. It just means that now you are not essentially trying to come up with a customized solution and trying to set yourself apart. You're trying to say that your product is apart because it has features. I always like products that tend to set themselves apart through the features they carry, not by the integration capabilities, although that's a good thing. There are applications for all of these things, but apples to apples comparison, I need a UC phone. And Crestron says, yes, we have a UC phone that does XYZ, which is what you normally see in any phone. But we also do ABC, would be the way to approach it. And that's a very IT type of approach to things. So good thing.
I guess the keyword in this is volume, isn't it? I mean, these kind of UC products and collaboration products now, they're shipped in really large volumes because the user base on the cloud platforms for collaboration is growing tremendous. So, I mean, it's quite natural that we need this kind of distribution deals and the infrastructure behind it to support really streamlined flows. And I fully agree. I mean, even though the IT managers might look for really sort of standardized and accredited, certified solutions and product for their rooms, there will still be need for installation. So just find the right level of engagement, I guess, from the integrator community.
Well, Stefan, you mentioned that something there, and I want to point out Stefan is joining us from Comptel. He's talking on a device that they released. Was it last week or this week?
Yeah, last week you could say. Yeah,
yeah. And you're at your home office. Does this, you know, when you look at the device you guys released this week or other UC devices, how does that play into work from home or work from anywhere or the hybrid model that our buddy Dave Danto has been talking about for years? He's headed to CEDIA. We're headed to CEDIA. We'll have a party with him in this innovation space as he and Poly, he works for Poly, look at the work from home angle for residential. What does that look like, you know, from a distribution like this when they're looking at UC and UC can be resi, UC can be in the commercial space?
Yeah, I mean, okay, I have our latest product here, the Comptel 70, now in my home office. It's actually designed for huddled to small meeting rooms in the office, but obviously it works well on my desk as well. But I mean, for just the fact that I have it at home doesn't mean that it's a consumer product. It's still we're still solely into B2B, and we also see that a lot of organizations really have had stable programs to equip their employees' home working environments. Both with web cameras and speakerphones and in many cases headsets and so on. So it's just a natural one side of the hybrid workplace that people are working from a distance, home office or anywhere else, and they need good equipment there. Now we see a lot of movement in the reorganizing also the office meeting spaces to cater for much larger volumes of video meetings overall, because in every meeting going forward, there will always be someone taking part from a distance. So we need the good audio, video, the web cameras and conference cameras and speakerphones, both when we're joining from our home office and when we are together with our colleagues in the meeting rooms in the office, corporate office.
Yeah, that's part of what that I've been kind of watching, and I think that's part of David's point as well, David Danto, is that these products need to be commercial grade, right? This is not something you go down to a box store and buy. It has to be, you know, a professional grade. It has to be commercial grade. It has to be integrated by a professional, still leveraging the channel. Question is what side of the market does that professional live? Is it a person who's a CDM member who does residential, or is it a commercial dealer who comes into the home? And I don't think that anybody has an answer to that yet. I think that will be, even more of a time will tell type situation. All right, last story actually comes to us from our website and AVNation.tv, and one of the press releases from LG. LG has unveiled a new interactive display designed specifically for versatility in classrooms post-pandemic, it says. This has a online conferencing platform that leverages the cloud and lets instructors use both in person as well as supports hybrid or remote learning. Frank, I'm going to start with you on this. Where does interactive and where does touch and where does physical touching of the devices live after COVID? Right, and where does that belong in both AV space and education and work? Where does that live?
So it's been an interesting journey, right? 'Cause if you had asked me this question at the beginning with COVID, I would have said touch is done. Nobody's going to touch anything anymore. It's gone. I'm pretty sure I may have said that, but at the same time, we realized that touch is essentially the most human part of us. It's essential to us. We're never going to not want to touch and feel things, right? I think what COVID did for us, though, is gave us the opportunity to look at the technologies that we have today and say, this doesn't work, this works. Let's look at a hybrid model. Let's look at things where, we can actually leverage the best of the worlds and use those technologies. A lot of people were simply hesitant to make the changes in their technology because it works. A lot of manufacturers, most quality manufacturers out there, they have these long cycles of life. They last a lifetime, 10 years, 15 years. So you never had the need to change or expand your horizons for that matter. But what COVID did is said, yeah, this doesn't work with the new Google Meets platform, or this doesn't work with the new Teams platform, so you're going to have to upgrade. So we did upgrade and realized, hey, this comes with so many cool features. I think we're going to find a good balance of the interactive features that we need. I, for one, right now, I'm going to wear my favorite hat. I'm going to wear the hat of a parent. I have 2 kids who've been doing remote learning for the last year and a half, right? And it's been a great experience. It's been a unique experience for each of them. My daughter, I believe, thrived because she loved the virtual environment, and it has a lot to do with the teacher who suddenly became like she was able to get a mastery of the technology. She utilized every single feature. They have breakout rooms. They have, they have Jamboards. They have whiteboards. So they had these little Chromebooks, and you could log on to PowerPoints. You could draw it together. They leveraged a lot of these technologies. Now, I honestly think that it's going to be challenging for her to unlearn some of those things that she learned as she goes back into school, hopefully in the summer. But I'm pretty sure that teachers will try to maintain some of these things, right? So it has to do with, at the end of the day, I think the technology user is the most important person in this thing. Manufacturers can create all kinds of amazing things. They've done a great job, and I think it's up to the user to decide what level of interactivity that they want to have within their system.
Real quickly, I'm always interested because one of the things we did on AV3 yesterday was interviewed 2 different educators. Your kids, again, I'll tell you what my kids are doing in a second. Are your kids 100% going back? Are they making hybrid available? Are they making remote available for your kids?
I think they're probably going to be going back 100%.
Interesting. So my kids, I live on the Illinois side of St. Louis, on the Illinois side of the Mississippi. 100% going back. There is no option, right? And I'm fascinated by this because I've got a couple interviews scheduled for their school system and also some others as well. The New York Times last week said that the New York school system, 100 million kids, right? Million kids, 100% going back, all in person, no remote available. And that's the part that gets me is you're right, Frank. You have kids who thrived in that, right? They discovered that they thrive in that. You have teachers who discovered that their teaching style thrives in that. this is a little bit editorial, so I apologize in a second. Stefan, we'll get you on.
I like that though.
I don't understand that. I don't understand if we've discovered something
Yes.
about ourselves. Why would we throw that away, right? Why would we dismiss that to go
Agreed.
back to normal? Now, don't misunderstand. My butt's going to Infocom. My butt's going to CEDIA because I love in person and I thrive there. The introvert part of me is that's fine, but I thrive being in person. I spent the last week in Chicago, hanging out with people. I'm fully vaccinated. That's all good. But if some of our students and some of our instructors, if they thrive in that remote environment, they thrive in that hybrid, why not?
Agreed. I think the argument that you pose is not just for education. I think it's universal, right?
Yeah.
Same goes for our workplaces. If you have somebody who's 120%, I'm going to use that term, right? Productive remotely, what's the point of getting them back into the office? Yeah. I agree with you. I completely share that sentiment. I think we have a lot to learn as a human race in general about what our strengths are. COVID was kind of like a teaser as to what the potential is, what we can do given faced with a challenge. Lessons need to be learned and applied. We always learn things, but we rarely apply them. Yeah. We'll go back to what we're comfortable with.
And I will tell on myself here. I discovered that I like the office, right? I discovered that I need it, right? It's part of my routine. It's part of my discipline, right? If that's the best word I can use. But I also thrive with our team that of getting in person, right? There's 2 or 3 of us that on the CTI side that we go into corporate office 2 or 3 days a week. We gather together. It's very nice. But we also have several folks who are still out. They live in other areas, right? And so I understand that as well. So I think you're right. I think figuring out on yourself first what works for you and how you're best. Most efficient. So, Stefan, I apologize.
I fully agree with you. No problem. I fully agree with you. I think that the general lesson, the corporate world, and should be also taken into the education sector. That what works has worked good now during the pandemic should be part of the hybrid new world that we are moving into long term. Absolutely. So, but going back to the LG announcement, I mean, I think it's in our sector of the market, it's also been a lot of discussion around touchless conferencing, the need for that. And I see why during the peak of the pandemic and everything, and maybe we should really use some of the new technologies to enable that. But if you're looking at schools and classrooms, kids have always touched things. There's no way around that. They will continue to touch things. So, I mean, a screen in the classroom, does it make any difference? No, it doesn't really in practical terms. You can make sure you keep it as clean as possible and so on. So why not? But I mean, I really like the open approach from LG with the new product announcements here. Open to all different cloud platforms and what learning systems needs to be used. That very much resonates with our philosophy at Conftel, an open approach. And also we have seen great success, especially in North America during the pandemic in education sector with our conference cameras and speaker phones, and also our hub to connect things together in an easy way. So implement that with an open mindset. So the teacher can just bring their laptop, or if they have an in-own PC, to run whatever software they need to connect all the classes together. I think that's really strong strategy. Should really be appreciated in different areas.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, gentlemen, that is going to do it for us really quickly. Infocom 2021 registration has opened this week. This is from Mr. David Buskus, quote unquote, like countless other industries, Pro AV has been affected on a multitude of ways by the pandemic. Some negative, like the pause of live events, others positive, such as the dramatic adoption of video communications. At the show, we'll explore the trends that emerged and which will be long lasting. So you can go register now. If you need a free code, you can hit me up. You can probably hit Frank up, working for Panasonic. I'm not sure if you can hit Stefan up. But yeah, Infocom 2021 is going off October 23rd to the 29th. Obviously, 23rd is when they start education. Since we haven't done this for a year and a half, a quick reminder, 27th, 28th, and 29th is the actual show floor. 27th will be the tweet up for AVNation. And the 26th, actually, we're going to be throwing a different party. I'll let you know that details as those come to do. Also, Stefan mentioned the fact that his speakerphone was released this week. We'll have Mitchell put a link to that. So congratulations on that, sir. I appreciate you both. Frank, good to see you. Congratulations again on Panasonic. Somebody wants to connect with you. How do they do that?
As always, you can reach me on Twitter. It's Frank Patakala. I'm also on LinkedIn. You can reach Panasonic at panasonic.com. And Twitter is my favorite place. I'm actually, I gotta say, Tim, looking forward to Infocom. Just the fact that things are getting back to normal. It's almost like we got a second chance at this. I don't even remember how things were done the last time, so it's awesome.
I'd agree with that. Yeah, I mentioned the fact that I spent the last week. I'll let Stefan say his, and I'll go ahead. Stefan, how do people connect with you or Comptel?
Yeah, check out our website, of course, conftel.com. We're a bit strange people. We are not actually on Twitter, but you find us on Facebook or LinkedIn, or so just Google us. No problem. So we are not booked for Infocom yet. We'll probably have to do it, but I will just starting to send our American team to live events. So first one next week, I think. And we're booked for a couple of more, and we'll probably be there at Infocom as well in October. So.
All right, very good. For me, I mentioned the fact that I was in Chicago this week for our AV3 event and some other stuff. Basically, it looks like August or early September. My dance card's awfully full. So you can catch me in December back here in St. Louis. But between now and then, Indianapolis, Vegas a couple different times. Actually, I get to hang out with Frank in Vegas. Physically get to see him for the first time in Vegas for NAB,
Yes, sir.
where he will be for Panasonic. I'll be going there just as an attendee and covering it for AVNation. CEDIA happens in Indianapolis, September 1st to the 3rd. Infocom, of course, we just talked about. And then Mr. Neto and I are hatching a super secret plan for something in November-ish. I'll let you know about that as it heads. But yeah, hang out for us here at AVNation. Don't follow me on the Twitters. At this point, I'm counting down the days until the Bears play football again, I guess. I don't know. I've been rooting for obviously the Netherlands in the Euro Cup, but also for the Golden Knights of Las Vegas.
Shout out to Portugal. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, but Frank's Portugal. Neto's Portugal because he's Portuguese. So yeah, there you go. And Stefan obviously is Sweden. So and Mitchell doesn't even know what soccer is. So but go by our website if you would please, avnation.tv. That's avnation.tv. You'll find this program and a host of others. Other weekly show is Resi Week. That's where they'll look at CEDIA. And a handful of monthlies as well. So all that and more. Also check out our sponsors. These are the folks who help bring you AV Week and Resi Week and coverage of everything that we'll be going to this fall. So all that and more at avnation.tv. That's avnation.tv. Thanks so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. That's all the time we have for AV Week.